And in today's video we're going to be repairing a pulsar 3-inch ball head rocket from Diamond Fireworks. And stay tuned because I'm going to be launching this one at the end to see if the repair was successful or not. There's a crack here. It's probably been stood on its end or pressed on at an angle, and this has happened. Basically this has now become very dangerous. You should never fire, especially a firework of this magnitude, when it's broken like this. But the fireworks in general, when they're made, they use something called gum tape, and it's like a sticky paper tape that they evenly distribute around the head of the firework. And I say evenly because it has to be. If it's not distributed evenly around the head, you'll notice that it will not launch correctly. And as it stands, this particular rocket, if you were to launch this right now, as you can see it's leaning to the right, it would probably go up and come back down, which is highly dangerous, as this is a 176 gram rocket and could do some serious damage. But what I'm going to be using, and this is where people who are aspiring pyrotechnicians, or people who think they're pyros anyway, will go mad. But what I'm using is actually a double-sided sticky tape, because this does act like gum tape in a way. The only difference is you don't have to wet it, and I've done this many times and I know it works. So no, this is not how the professionals do it. They use gum paper, but I'm using double-sided, very, very thin, lightweight tape. And it's important that it has to be light, because if you were to use any other tape that was heavy, it would greatly affect the balance of the rocket and it wouldn't launch properly and it would be dangerous. So without further ado, let's rip some of this off and start taping this rocket together. Okay, so let's just have a look at the damage here, and you can see here that it's almost coming off. And as I've said, this is very dangerous. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our double-sided tape here, and we're not going to go all the way around the rocket or anything like that. Keep it as minimal as possible, depending on what kind of damage you have. But with this situation, what we want to do, I've done this in the past many times, and stay tuned because at the end of this video, I'm going to be launching it and seeing if this repair was a success or not. Let's just rip this off here. So what we want to do is centralize the actual weight and pull it over so it's evenly balanced here. So a bit of pressure on there. And this stuff, it really does act like gum paper that they use. So that's just to really straighten it out. And you can see that it's pretty even now. Let's just bring it over a bit more here. It's so much quicker than, you know, using gum paper. And, you know, obviously if you were to make your own and manufacture your own fireworks, you do it the professional way. However, I'm just a guy who's repairing one single rocket here. So what you want to do is feel it in the hand and see if it still balances correctly. And that seems to be balancing a lot better. But the ball head has to be centralized, so the center of gravity and the weight has to be distributed right over the middle of the rocket engine here for this to launch correctly. Best not to try this at home. Actually, a rocket of this magnitude, you know, it has a fairly heavy powder weight, and if you don't know what you're doing, I really wouldn't recommend trying this. So I think we're about done here. I'm not going to go too mad. because you can unbalance the rocket. A lot of people think you can just put anything on a rocket and it will launch correctly. Well, that's not true. The actual gun paper that is used to cover the rocket, they actually cover the ball head evenly. They start out with lines and they measure how much they need, and then they go step by step down in that fashion and wrap it evenly and evenly distribute the gun paper. So it's very important. Now I'm satisfied that that's balanced well. As you can see, it's fairly straight and it's balancing in my finger here fairly well. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm just going to take some of this, more of this double-sided tape, and I'm going to put just a little on the other side just to even it out. And I've just finished with 2 even layers right around the rocket, just to make sure that this rocket is secure, because the last thing you want is for the ball head to depart from the engine prematurely in the air. So I've just finished off with 2 bands of evenly distributed double-sided tape. Don't try this at home, because ultimately that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to launch a rocket, and we want it to launch successfully, well balanced and safely, because at the end this thing is going to blow up, and the last thing you want is this thing to blow up when it's hurtling towards you at 1,000,000 miles an hour. However, and let's fire this one off and see how it performs. But before we do, guys, hit that subscribe. Now, let's go. This is a repaired rocket. Wow, nice hang time and a very successful repair. As you can see, the rocket went up very straight and was stable in the air in terms of aerodynamics. The timed fuse inside the rocket worked perfectly, and all of the stars got lit and successfully were evenly distributed in the air, creating a nice break. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.